Hello, it's Jethro Black and this is lecture 21. This is on a topic which I have began a book on, but I haven't, I've left that to sort of shelve it for the time being. I'm involved in three other books I'm writing at the moment, but this is a topic which I know a lot of people are interested in, and have been asked whether I'm going to do a lecture on this topic, and I'll do it now. Rather controversial, but I hope you'll find this interesting. It's on the number 666, and the question which most people will ask is, well, is the source of this number only in the New Testament? The book of Revelation, chapter 13, talks about the number of the beast, or the mark of the beast. I'm not going to go into depth about what that chapter is about, but I will talk about what I think is meant by the beast. And I'm going to show you where this number actually originates in the Torah, back into the 5 books of Moses, in fact all the way back to the Garden of Eden. So let's just have a look at the source in the story of creation, where, and I will come back to the book of Revelation later on, but we're going to go back to its very early source. Question one would ask, why is 666 the number of the beast? Is the number 666 an evil number? It's a bad number. Numbers have all sorts of all words, as we've seen, have numerical values, many different sort of values, different energy values, depending on the system that you're using. And there's no good or bad number. There are bad things associated with a number, and the good things associated with the same number. The same number can have bad associations and good associations. It's rather like technology, it's just how you use it. The number represents a vibration, an energy. And that vibration has a representation, it means something, and it depends on how that number is used. Last lecture 20, when I went through the crowns, the 7 letters of the crowns, and each crown was made up of 3 zayins. Zayin is the 7th letter, so you had zayin, zayin, zayin on the top of each of these 7 letters. And zayin, zayin, zayin is 777, so 777 is also an interesting number. I didn't go into great depth about it, but if you find out the whole value of the word the Redeemer, the whole value is 777. And I showed you the connection in that lecture with these crowns and the concept of the Mashiach, and perhaps when Mashiach is. So, the Messiah. So let's go to the creation story, the story of Garden of Eden. The story is that the Nachash, the serpent, confronts Eve, Chava in Hebrew, and says to her, is it true that you can't eat from all the trees of the garden? And she said, oh no, we can eat from all the trees of the garden, except for the one in the midst of the garden. God has told us not to eat or touch it. She added the idea of not touching it. And then the Nachash says, oh, don't worry, you won't die on the day that you eat it. Because she said, if we eat it or touch it, we're going to die. So the Nachash says to her, no, you won't die. You will become like God. And the Hebrew word for that is Kelohim. Or it could be a plural for God. You'll be like gods. Or sometimes Elohim. I'm going to put, I'm not going to spell this, I'm going to put a little dash there, because some people hold it means God, or it could mean like angels. So like Elohim in that case would not mean God as the absolute creator, but like angels, divine beings. Okay, so if we use the alternative large value, because we've got a final mem here, and the alternative normal value for the final mem is 600, and Yud is 10, He is 5, Lamed is 30, this is the normal values, Aleph is 1, and Kaf is 20, you'll find that that equals to 666. So what the serpent was saying to Eve is that you're going to become divine beings if you eat from this tree of knowledge. So this tree of knowledge, let's just look at this number 666. If I was to write out in words 666, and I was to use the placement values to find out what that comes to, it will come to 294. S is 19, I is 9, X is 24, etc. Okay? I will get 294. And if I write out the phrase tree of knowledge, knowledge of good and evil, I will get 294, again using placement values. So 666 is 294, tree of knowledge of good and evil is 294. So we see a connection between the number and the tree of knowledge. But also, if we take out Nachash, which is the Hebrew for serpent, let's put him over here, which is a Nun, Chet, and Shin. And we use the large values. The Nun is the 14th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and 14 in English is 104. Chet is 8, and 8 is 49. Shin is 21, and the word 21, words 21 is 141. Add them together, I get 14, 9, and 294. So we see a connection between the Nachash and the tree of knowledge, and the Nachash and the number of the beast. Okay? So, let's just go from there to see what the representation of the tree is, because the book of the Zohar shows that there is a sexual background to this whole story, where the serpent sees Chava and wants to have relationships with her. So perhaps we're not talking about a sort of normal serpent, but this is sort of metaphorical. So we see there's a connection between the tree of knowledge and sexual energy. So if you take the word for, I'm going to rub this off, for tree, that's 20, 38, 48 in placement value, and sex is 48 placement value. So there's a connection between sexuality and this tree of knowledge of knowing good and evil. Again, sexuality is an energy which can be used for good or bad. So there are other connections. For example, the word Hanachash, the serpent, using the placement values. Nun is 14, 8, and 21. Now the Hey at the beginning is the Nachash, so I'm going to put a 5 there. And if I add that together, I get 21, 29, 39, 43, 48. So again, the Nachash is connected to the sexuality. Again, if I take the Hebrew word for tree, and again I'm going to put Ha'etz, the tree. And if I use alternative placement values, with the Sadi is the 27th letter, Ayin is the 16th, and He again is the 5, so it's 27, 37, 43, 48. So I'm getting all these connections with 48, with tree, Ha'etz. This is interesting because the tree is 41, and it's the same as Ha'etz, the tree in Hebrew, and I've seen that in English. For example, the word king has got the placement only in 41, but that's also to HaMelech, the king in Hebrew. So we get this sort of having to put the Ha in front of it. Again, using placement values. Okay, so we'll take him away. So we see this connection between the tree of knowledge and the number of this number of the beast, this so-called number of the beast. It's a number. We see this number also occur in the book of Psalms, Psalm 118, where it says that the stone which the builders have forsaken or despised has become the cornerstone. And in Hebrew, the cornerstone is L'Rosh Pinah. L'Rosh means for a head. Pinah is the corner. Become the corner. So if I work out the gematria of that normal value, Shin is 300, Resh is 200, is 500, 531. And this is 80 plus 50 is 135. Now you notice that these numbers are reflexed numbers. That's 135, that's 531. Of course, added together gives me 666. And that is using normal values. And if I use the large values on the phrase divine one, which is what we said Elohim represents, divine one. So again, I'm going to use the large values. D is 4, and the word 4 is 60. I is the 9th letter, and 9 is 42, etc. And I will get 666 as the large values. So we see that the number 606 is not an evil number. It's actually a very special number. It's a divine number. If I put in English, Kelohim is like God. So like God, I'm going to use that, is 12 for the placement values, and God is 26. That's 12, 21, 22, 32, 37, 47, 57, 63. And if you work it out, divine equals 63. Okay, so there are other interrelationships here. I'm not going to give you all the different permutations here. So now we'll go back to this idea of the number 6. The number 6, what does it represent? In Judaism, number 6 represents creativity. There were 6 days of creation, and therefore the 6 represents the natural world, and therefore we have 6 directions. We have north, south, east and west, and we have up and down. And that is represented by a cube, basically. Of course, the 7th point is the point in the middle from which the other 6 directions manifest from. So, number 6 equals 52. That's the placement value. If we take create the world, create is also 52. So number 6 is connected to creation. We have a connection between number 6 and sex. In Latin, sex is the same as 6. They both equal 295 in the large value because I, 5th letter, 5 is 42. Sorry, E is 5th letter, and 5 is 42. And I is the 9th letter, and 9 is 42. Those have the same large value. So sex and 6 will be the same, and they come to 295. So if I was to say, now, what's the connection between 666 and a beast? Well, first of all, if we're looking at creativity, and 6 as being the creative number, then we're talking about the creative energy of the human being, which is the sexual energy. And therefore, the beast represents the vitality and the force of sexuality and the force of creativity. The same, basically. And since that is the case, one can use those energies for good and bad. And therefore, a beast is not good or bad. Beast represents an energy, a force, a vitality. So, in English gematria, the word beast equals 47. That's the placement value. Okay, 20, 39, 40, and 5 and 2 is 7. It's 47. So I asked myself, well, what's the connection between a beast and the number 666? And the only one I have discovered is if you take the word 47, the words 47, and this is when you realise why there's no U in 40. Not just in this particular case. But 47, if we use the large values for working out 47, F is 6, 6 is 52, O is 15, 15 is 65, etc., you will find that this comes to 885. That's the large value. Now we had 6 before to be equal to 295 in the large value. And therefore 666 is 3 times that. 3 times 5 is 50. 3 9 is 27 plus 1 is 28. 3 2s is 6 plus 2 is 8. In other words, 666 in large values equals the large value of 47. And 47 is the placement value of beast. So I have a connection showing the number 666 to beast. The book of Revelation talks about that this number is the number of a man. So let me just show you that connection. And in fact it's the number of every man. Right, I'm just going to check if it was the number of a man or, yes, the number. The number of a man. And if you work that out in placement values, you get 156. That's placement value. And 6 in placement value is 52. And if I multiply that by 3, I get 156. In other words, 666 in placement value is the same gematria as the number of a man. So this is an energy within the human being. If you take the human being, the human, you'll say, why has there got a who there? Who man? He's a man. Who in Hebrew is he, by the way. So who man. But using large values, H is the 8th letter, and 8 is 49. And use the 21st letter, and 21 is 141. If you add those together, you get 190. Now you find that's large values. The large values of God, God, is also 190. The large values. So the human man, is the divine element in man to be manifested, because man has a spirit in him. Man, the large value, the normal values, 40 plus 1, and nun, n is 50, like the Hebrew nun, is 91, which is the placement value of spirit. In other words, man, that's the normal value of man, is a placement value of spirit. Man has a spirit within him. Man has a soul within him. He has a divine force within him. And he can use that for good, and if he uses those forces for bad, so he's travelling the wrong path. So we see that the number 6 represents an energy in a person. It's creative energy. In fact, some people say that the devil is the one that rules the world at the moment. In fact, devil is 52, so that's 6. But if you take in Hebrew Mashiach, the Messiah, Mashiach is also 52. You can say that's the placement values. And one could say that Mashiach is what's going to counteract the devil. The devil is not a real being, it's a metaphorical force within us that we are creating ourselves in a way. But it's there. So, where do we go from here? One of the this force of nature, this sexual energy force, is associated with the serpent. In particular, I did a lecture a while back on the caduceus. I was talking about the number caduceus, where I had 707, 616, 525, 434, and I showed how that was related to a very famous rabbi called Menachem Mendel Schneerson, and that there was the number 707, which was Schneerson. There was 616, which I showed to be equal to the word caduceus. and it's equal to caduceus both in the large value and in the normal inner value. They both give you, if I use those two systems, I'll get 616. And then there was 525, which was Menachem, 434, which was Mendel. So I had Menachem, Mendel, and that was Schneerson. And I had this number in the middle, this sort of number, at the towards the top. And that's caduceus. If you do the same thing with monster, and again I'm going to use the normal inner values, this is one here, and IV values. Normal inner values to those who haven't seen the earlier lectures, which I recommend you do so, where m is, the normal value of m is 40. That's when you take the decimal values, where a is to 1 and j is 10, then the k is 20 and l is 30, as done in Hebrew and Greek, gematria. And I take 40 and I work out what word 40 is. It's 48. O is 60 and 60 is 97. N is 50 and 50 is 66, etc., etc. And if I do that, I'll get 616. So remember that the alternative number for the beast given by the earliest manuscript of the Book of Revelation is 616. Now, before I go any further, just want to show you how that works out in the dice. Now here we have 3 dice, and on my CD on 9/11, the imminent sign, it's a slideshow, and I show about this on there. We've got 666 now. By putting the sixes above, I've got the twin towers. I've got the twin towers, and I've got 9 spots going on one side and 9 spots going on the other side, and they form the figure 11. So I've got 911. I thought that's interesting. And I'll show how the mark of the beast is connected to the twin towers. So if I turn this dice around, the middle one, because the very number that's opposite the 6 is a 1. In other words, all the numbers on the dice, they have opposite. So 4 is opposite 3, 6 is opposite 1, and 5 is opposite 2, and they all add up to 7. So, and you'll find there's 3 of those, because you've got 2 and 5, 1 and 6, and 3 and 4, so you've got 7, 7, 7. A lot of deep things in having 3 dice, a lot of meaning there. So the caduceus is a symbol. It's a staff with 2 serpents going up either side. Again, in my book on the caduceus, which I've shown in the previous lecture, in that book I discuss what these serpents are. But basically, in Hebrew, we said that the Hebrew word for serpent was a nachash. A nachash is, in normal values, Nun is 50, Chet is the 8th, Let is 8, and Shin is 300. This is normal values, decimal values. I get 358, which is the same as Moshiach, the Messiah, the anointed one, is also 358 using the normal value, both normal values. So we see this interesting connection. The book of the Zohar says that the Mashiach is the Nachash HaKadosh, the holy serpent, comes back to correct the imbalance that was set up in the beginning, going back to the time of the Garden of Eden. So if I take this Nachash, and I've got 2 of them, got 1 on either side, okay? So I've got Nachash and Nachash on each side. I've got 358 and 358, and I add those together, I'll get 16, 5 and 5 is 10 plus 1 is 11, and a 7. I get 716. Going back to the caduceus now, if I work out the normal, I've got the large values, the normal inner values, and now if I work out what the normal value is, the normal value, where I'll do on the top, C is 1, C is 3, A is 1, D is 4, U is 300, C is 3, E is 5, U is 300 again, and S is 100. And if I add that together, I get 716. That's the normal value. In actual fact, therefore, the caduceus, 2 serpents, 2 nachash, a nachash there and a nachash there, going up, gives me the same value as what the word caduceus equals to. So, the caduceus is also symbolized by the dollar sign, which is a line with a serpent going up it. Often the staff of one serpent is called the Asclepius, but I believe that's just a short way of doing it, and really the dollar bill is representing the caduceus, which has got two serpents going up it. If you take the word dollar, I think I've shown this before, D and O is 4 plus 15 in placement value equals 19, which is S. And again, the S is the shape of the serpent. A is 1 and R is 18. Again, that's 19, and that's S. And you've got the two lines, which sometimes you see two lines in the dollar bill, but the two lines represent the stick going up in the middle, and the eagle wings at the top. You need to look into my book to see what those represent. So if I take now some people say that the caduceus represents the DNA, which I also think there's a connection there, the double helix molecule, but also that it represents the raising of the kundalini, in particular the feminine and the masculine raising of the kundalini, with the union of the two people of feminine and masculine raising up the kundalini, where again we get this concept of the eagle represents redemption and liberation. So if I take sex urge, which is the primal force for creation within a human being, sex urge, and I use the large value, sex is 295, we had that before, the same as 6, and urge is 321, and you'll see that's a 616. So we see this large value, we see this connection with the sex urge and the caduceus, and again, if you want to call it the monster or the beast, the number of the beast, which seems to be either of these two. Now, the raising of the kundalini, I'm not going to go into great depth here, but I'll just show you just one connection here. The kundalini is usually spelled K-U kundalini, but you will see it spelled also kundalini. And if you spell it this way, and you work out the large value, which we've been doing right here, where K is 11 and 11 is 63, etc., you'll get 666. So we have another connection between the raising of the kundalini and the sexual energy, where triple 6 represents the complete and totality of that energy. Right, there's plenty more on this. But the question then is, how does, for example, the letter X, the S, represent the serpent? The S is a serpent. That can be shown as follows. Of course, there's the shape of the S, the fact that S begins serpent and begins the word snake. But also we can show mathematically, because S has a placement value of 19, and that's the placement value. The large value is 86, because 19 equals 86, that's the large value. It has a normal value of 100, which we had up there, okay, 100, normal value, and the normal inner value where 100 equals 108. So now, if that's the normal value, and that's the NIV value, and now if I add those three values, I will get 294, which is what we had before as the value of 666. And it also was Nachash, writing it backwards, isn't that clever? Nachash, I'll do it in block. Nachash was the serpent, and that also equaled in large value 294, and that's what the letter S represents. Let me just go over. Now, yes, the number 666 occurs in the Bible. It occurs in the story in Kings 1, chapter 10, about the Queen of Sheba, right? Never know, she might have descended from Queen of Sheba, Queen Elizabeth. It says in verse 13 that King Solomon gave to her many gifts and gave her all that she desired. And the rabbi called the Arizal explains that they had a union, sexual union, and from that intimate union there resulted Nebuchadnezzar. Now Nebuchadnezzar destroyed the temple some say 500 odd years later. So we're not saying that Nebuchadnezzar was the immediate result of that relationship. We mean that he came as a descendant from that relationship down the line. So King Solomon builds the first temple. Nebuchadnezzar, due to that relationship, later on destroys that temple. And straight after that verse, it says that the revenue of King Solomon each year was 666 talents of gold, plus so much silver, etc. But the interesting thing is 666 talents of gold, and that's the only time in the whole of the Tanakh Tamai, all of the Hebrew Bible that I know of, that the number 666 occurs. And it occurs after this sort of this verse that talks about the intimate relationship between King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. So we see this sort of connection between sexuality and 666. Then I was interested in why it was connected to gold, and again I'm not going to go into this in great detail here, but there was I started a book actually on the subject of gold. It's quite a fascinating subject, going back all the way to the Garden of Eden again, with the 4 rivers that came out of Eden, and the first river is called Pishon, or Pison in English, or Pison, and it goes all the way round the land of Havilah, where there is gold. So that topic is a very interesting topic. Why is there gold there? So gold in English, large values, is 277 large values. Okay. In the Hebrew, the word seed is zerah. And zerah is 277. 277 supposed to be 2. Okay? And that's in the normal value. So there is a link between gold and seed. And in my book on gold I will discuss exactly what is meant by that. But gold has many different metaphorical uses. Good as gold. The Midas touch. In Hebrew, the word Midas is the king Midas. But the Hebrew word for midot or midus, say midus in Ashkenazi, means quality traits. So if you say you're good as gold, you're talking about the quality of your midus, your midot, your character trait. So, who is the beast, as they would say? Well, this is just a bit of speculation, and there have been many people who've been associated to the number of the beast, including Aleister Crowley and Nero, the Caesar of Rome. You can find that on the YouTube, other lectures on that, and written down. You can find things on that. How Gematria of Aleister Crowley can be shown. He puts it into Hebrew letters in his book 777. He shows he thinks he's the beast. He was the beast, and you can see where sexual energies come into a very misused way in the life of Aleister Crowley. As for all these great cruel individuals, they are misusing their sexual energies and channeling them in the wrong way. Iran equals 42 equals war. Japan also equals 42, but Germany doesn't. So start of the Second War. There's many wars in all countries. There's wars, but these two countries may be of a great significance. We don't know about Iran at the moment, except that it's trying to build an atom bomb and threaten to destroy Israel. But we certainly do know about Japan. And had Japan not come into the war, it could possibly be that Hitler would have won the war, because Japan brought America into the war, and they were being rather sluggish in joining the British in that war. And had they not come in, then it could be very likely that England would have lost. So the previous president of Iran, who has actually stated his intent to destroy the world, although he's not the president anymore. You never know, he might come back again, because the present one finishes his reign, or whatever you call it, his time, in 2021, I think. Another 3 years, and he's no longer. So this guy, Ahmadinejad, might come back in. If we take president, and we're going to use the normal value here, the normal value of president is 533. That's normal value. Right? P is 70, 90, 500, etc. Ahmadinejad, never pronounce the word properly, is 133, and that's 666. That's the normal value. Okay? So here we find a person whose name, there's many people that are connected with 666 use large values. You might be able to find a few thousand people in the world that come up to 666. And here's a misuse of sexual energy. Not particularly nice word, I'm afraid, but you use normal values on that, you'll get 666. So there's a beast. That is misuse of sexual energy. And again, because it's creativity, because that sexual energy is the basis of creativity in human beings, then you're talking about that which can create can also destroy. And hence, the number 666 may well be a beastly number, but it's also a divine number. It represents the potential of a human being to be creative and divine. So when Eve ate from the tree of knowledge, she was utilizing, she went into a state where the choice of those energies were then present to do good or to do bad. In Hebrew, we talk about the Yetzer, the Yetzirah, the Yetzer Tov, the good inclination, the bad inclination. The word Yetzer in Hebrew is Yud Tzadi Resh, is 200, and normal values 90 and 10 is 300. Those are normal values. And the word tree is also normal values, 200 plus 90 plus 5 plus 5. Again, we have 300. So a tree is connected to the creative force. And in effect, the tree is the largest plant in the world. Well, I can't really say that for truth. There are seaweeds that can spread over the oceans for kilometers. But in terms of land plants, a tree is our largest plant, and the prolific from one tree, you get many fruits. So a tree represents again that raising of the sexual energy and for good force. So this is just really touching on it in a way. So there's plenty more. I'm just looking at another one because I've got a Nachash here. I haven't written this down fully. I'm just going to check this out. But Nachash, I've got down as a normal inner value as being 300. Let's see, check that out because I haven't made it very clear. Nun is 50, 66. That's 8 is 49. And Sheen is 300, which is 130. Doesn't look like it's going to be like that. Oh, no, I've got it linked to Hayetzer. Oh, Hayetzer. As if I put the, I put hey. Alright, I've got my lines all over the place. Alright, not important. Whether the Nachash is connected to the tree by the number 300. Looks a bit vague. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. So basically, the number 666 is a powerful number for creativity. It represents the totality of the creative nature of a human being, and he has then the choice, the free choice, which is represented by the tree of knowledge of good and evil, to choose which way to use that energy. And that is a vitality, which is the aspect of the beast. What the beast represents in the book of Revelations maybe a metaphor for that. I will have to leave that for the moment. Maybe in my book I will research that further to see what this whole thing of this beast is, because he's a pretty cruel guy, and there's a beast before him, and he forces people to worship the previous beast and bow down. So all that really, what is that supposed to be taken literally? To be looked into. I'm not a scholar of the New Testament. Have a good week. I will be doing a lecture next on the topic of the relationship between Hebrew and English, and showing you numerous, well, I'll show you a number of English words that correspond to the Hebrew translation. And did I show any tonight? I can't remember. And I'll show you that, and it's based on my CD on that topic as well. Alright, all the best. See you again soon. Give me a like down below, please, and see you next time.